Welcome in to the latest episode of the Betting the Pitch Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, real_G Warner. Tonight, we're going through England, Spain, Italy, France, and Germany. Finally back to a normal post-holiday episode as I rearrange my camera. We are 15-11, 58% on our best bets year to date. And let's go to find some winners. I want to straighten my Roma scarf. I'm wearing a Hetafe kit. And hopefully the people will be coming in sooner rather than later. There's my camera zooming again because it just loves to do that. I don't really know why, but it's over the shoulder. It's good. And let's get into it. We'll start in England since that is where the money is. Shout out Jeff Lenar. Hope you're still listening. Not sure, but it'd be nice. We'll start in a Manchester derby. Not a bad one to begin with, but we'll start with Manchester United. They are a home underdog to Manchester City, plus one half of a goal right now. Total's 3.25, juiced very heavily to under. So, Manchester United, they've got a lot of problems. Don't really love their management. Manchester City's playing really good football. I think you could only really, at least from my perspective, lean to the home underdog here. Total is high, 3.25, above three is interesting, but it might be a little bit too much. So I think for me, I might be sitting out this early start, maybe get some sleep. Doubt it because it's this weekend. Move next to Leeds hosting Fulham as we get into an onslaught of big Saturday window of matches. Leeds are a quarter goal favorite right now. All the juice is on the home team, which is pretty, and first time looking at lines as we're doing this live. So typing it in as we go. Hopefully that is not bothersome to everyone else. So I think quarter goal favorite Leeds looks a little bit much to me at this point. Fulham have not been great for this season. They're a middle tier club in England, the English Premier League. Leeds, newly promoted, trying their best to get a bunch of home results to stay up and then build from there. I'm not sure they're going to do it. I don't know that they score enough goals. For that reason, I'm interested in backing Fulham. I'm also interested in the under 2.25 goals because I just don't believe in the favorite. And that's generally my strategy in soccer betting. We'll move next to Liverpool hosting Burnley. Currently, Liverpool 1.75 goal favorites. I just sounded like I was from Liverpool saying that, and I did again. I don't know what's wrong with me. But Burnley, big underdog. Total is 3, and this one juices a little bit more to under. 16-cent Premier League juice, best you can get anywhere in the marketplace, especially in a pretty expensively juiced sport like football or soccer, the European version of football. If you want a referral, hit me up at the real_G Warner on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, YouTube, anywhere you can find me, and I will get you in there because Bet Online or sportsbetting.ag. If you don't have an account there before, you get some free money. Sign up, same site, both sides, really. Take crypto, all that sort of stuff. Credit cards as well. There's a pretty big fee though, unfortunately. For this matchup, not. I guess I can go into some promos because I'm not really sure I'm betting Burnley. I don't really trust them to score goals, so I think under is probably my biggest interest in this matchup. But total's about what I made it. Side's about what I made it. Don't see a lot of value at this point. Moving next to Sunderland, quarter goal favorites at home to Crystal Palace, which is, I mean, saying something. Sunderland finally getting some love for the marketplace in England. I doubt it, but total in this one is 2.25, and it's juiced pretty heavily to under as it should be, as I don't see a lot of goals in this matchup. A little bit surprised that Sunderland has moved to a favorite. They've been really great to me and my family. Those of you who've been following along, patreon.com/real_G Warner all season. I don't know that Sunderland deserve it, though. I mean, crowd will be great. Crystal Palace, one of the best teams, certainly have some road splits issues, but that's because they would win all their home games basically for a while. I trust Alva Glasna. I don't love that they've been, unfortunately playing so many matches. That's why they lost a really important wing back to injury. We'll see if Daniel Munoz comes back or when he comes back, but under and Crystal Palace underdog fit in that one. Move next to Chelsea hosting Brentford. Chelsea 3/4 goal favorites with almost all the juice on the road team Brentford right now. Not a long trip from West London to West London. Total in this one is 3, juiced very heavily to under, and that doesn't really. I don't think the total looks very interesting to me because Chelsea with Rossignol coming in, we'll see what his kind of new style setup and all that sort of stuff will be for Chelsea. Brentford, they've been really competitive so far this season. I probably want to get a full goal of insurance to fade Chelsea on the road. Chelsea at home, excuse me. But coming off of the Carabao EFL Cup midweek, that's not great for Chelsea, especially because they want to win a trophy. They need to. They've spent so much money in the club, and that might mean we see some rotation for this matchup. So I'll be looking out, hanging out in the bushes, waiting for a Brentford lineup, 9 a.m. Central Time on Saturday morning. Tottenham, 3/4 goal favorites right now at home to West Ham United. That's bigger than I made it. Total in this one is 2 and 3/4, juice pretty heavily to under. That fits, I think, a West Ham interest that I certainly have. Like the under 2 and 3/4. Would love to get three. Don't think we get there. Would love to get a +1 on West Ham as well. Tottenham, they're just going to play a conservative brand of football. I don't think they should. I don't think they make sense based on their budget. West Ham are going to try to keep this game goalless as long as possible and escape North London, go back to East London with a draw. To the nightcap on Saturday, Nottingham Forest, a 1 goal underdog at home to Arsenal, which is same sort of thing going on from the Arsenal perspective as they had the Carabao EFL Cup midweek. Played a pretty big pretty good lineup, but they do that all the time. It's one of the downfalls of Mikel Arteta as he kills his players. For this matchup, total is 2.5. It's juiced more to the over slightly. I think for me, I see a low scoring game here. I think that's the way Sean Dyche wants to play. It's the way he's always played. And Arsenal under Arteta are going to dominate this game, make it very hard for Nottingham Forest to get any goals. I think the +1 is enough for me to want to look towards Nottingham Forest, but under 2.5, my biggest interest in this game by far. To Sunday, we'll go to Wolves hosting Newcastle. Currently, Wolves 3/4 goal underdogs with a lot of juice. Newcastle coming off an earlier playing of the semifinals of the EFL Cup. So they get an extra day than Chelsea or Arsenal backwards the way they scheduled that, I think. Total in this one is 2 and 3/4, juiced all the way to over, looking like it's moving towards 3. If you're playing this game, you could back Wolves, though there's a smaller underdog than I made it, probably getting a little bit more respect than maybe I think they deserve, but it's been an awful season for them. But the ability to fade Newcastle when they're playing a really important competition to them because they want to win a trophy, they're not probably going to win Champions League, they're not going to win the Premier League, so going for Carabao Cup seems like it's happening. From a Wolves perspective, they're horrible, and at some point, like the team's just gonna break and give up, and I don't know if I want to be holding the bag for that. So that's my big concern there. Probably interest for me is strongest to under, but not there yet. We'll move next to Aston Villa hosting Everton. Aston Villa, a 3/4 goal favorite, exactly what I made it. A lot of juice on the home team, so maybe we get a full goal of insurance. Total's 2.5, bigger than I made it. I made it just 2.375. And I think Everton are interesting to me as both an underdog and an under. Pretty much, I've said it before. If you've listened to this podcast once in your life, you probably heard me say that David Moyes doesn't go on the road to entertain. I think we see a dead rubber Everton trying to keep Aston Villa out as long as possible. Would love to get a +1, so a 1-0 final from Aston Villa's perspective. We'll win one bet and push the other, but still be profitable if it was a +3/4, and I think we will get the one. To Monday, last English Premier League match we'll cover, and then we'll nominate one for the ultimate best bet portion of the show. Brighton, half-a-goal underdog, Brighton half-a-goal favorite at home to Bournemouth. Total is 3.25, juiced very heavily to under. Bournemouth's defense has been problematic, especially as they've been kind of playing makeshift center backs for a little while. We'll see if that gets better after AFCON or with health. I think at this current price, Bournemouth are interested in me. I still love Andoni Iraola. I think he's a great manager. I'm a believer, as everyone knows who listens to this podcast as well. Lean to the half-a-goal underdog because I think it's bigger than I made it. I don't trust Brighton to score as many goals, though I think the total does make me a little nervous above 3 to 3.25. For my best bet from England, let's go with the West Ham Tottenham under 2 and 3/4 goals, biggest interest for me in the English Premier League. We'll now move to Spain, where we did have some Copa del Rey midweek. And let's get the show on the road. Okay, so English Premier League, we have Real Madrid leading everything off in a rare early Tuesday start, probably because they were playing in Champions League coming up next week. Totals 2.25, spreads 2.25. Whoa. Totals 3.75. So Real Madrid hosting Levante should be a murder scene. I don't have any faith in Levante. Totals about what I made it. Spread's actually smaller than I made it. I don't know if there's anything for me in that early matchup. Mallorca then hosts Athletic Club Bilbao. Mallorca currently a 1/4 goal underdog at home with almost all the juice on Athletic Club away. Total is 2 in this one, and it is juiced very heavily to over. I'll be sticking around waiting to see if this climbs to 2.25. Lean to the home underdog as well. I do want to see the health and the status of the Williams brothers because when Nico and Iñaki are out there for Athletic Club Bilbao. They're a very different team, and they haven't had them at all for most of the season. To the 11:30 start, we'll go with Real Oviedo on the road at Osasuna. Oviedo, three-quarter goal underdogs with all the juice right now on the road. Total is two, and it is juiced very heavily to over, which is pretty makes no sense to me because Oviedo can't score. Their defense has been pretty good. They're trying like heck to stay in this league. I don't think they will, but they're trying their best. I think I want a full goal of insurance to play the under here. I had this total below two, so I'm pretty interested in under 2 goals. Osasuna hosting Real Oviedo. Move next to Real Betis hosting Villarreal. A lot of Reals coming up all at the same time. Betis are currently a pick 'em at home, a little bit more juice, 4 more cents on Villarreal away, 20 cents lines on Bet Online, but better than most sports books, most locals that you would have. So certainly check that out if you're looking for some new action or to save some juice, because that's an important part of this game. Total in this one's 2 and 3/4, juice all the way to over. I don't know that I really want to play unders with Real Betis ever. I think I'm mostly interested in their side, but would love to get Villarreal moving to a favorite. It's starting to look that direction, but we'll see if it ends up moving to that really vital quarter goal favorite because I want that in my belly. Move to Sunday. Getafe, as I wear their kit, is hosting Valencia. Currently, Getafe, quarter goal favorites right now, with all the juice on Valencia. More juice than I think I'm used to seeing. So it's probably a pick 'em in a lot of this world. Total in this one is 1 and 3/4, juiced very heavily to under, and it should be because these teams have absolutely no offense. Their offense is offensive. I think from this point on, I'd look to play against Itafe because they haven't started a striker when it feels like weeks now. But I do like their kit. It fits me fairly well, I think. But for me, I'm waiting until I get a two on this total, and I don't know that we'll get that. So waiting on that one. Next, we'll move to Atletico Madrid hosting Alaves. Currently, Atleti, a 1 and 1/4 goal favorite right now, with most of the juice on the home team. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's juiced very heavily to under. Alaves hosted Rayo Vallecano in a big matchup in the Copa del Rey of two La Liga sides, Primera División. We'll see what that looks like in terms of how rested they are. Trip to the Wanda Metropolitano is very difficult, and unfortunately, on less rest or no rest or playing 2 matches a week that they're not used to, that does concern me. Alaves are getting a little bit more respect than I expected. Total's smaller than I made it to. So I probably need some movement to get involved in that one, especially with a fatigue disadvantage. Move next to Celta de Vigo hosting Rayo Vallecano. Currently Celta, a half of a goal favorite at home. All the juice on Rayo right now. Total in this one is 2 and 1/4, and it's juiced very heavily to under, which it probably should be. Rayo are just going to defend. We know that's going to happen. Celta haven't really impressed scoring goals much this year. I do like the half of a goal, but I probably like under 2 and 1/4 better than anything else in that matchup. To the nightcap on Sunday, Barcelona, they are on the road at Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad, a 1 goal underdog, offering a push, which is saying something, though I don't think Real Sociedad have had much success with Barcelona, even in their bad years recently, and Real Sociedad's good years, to be frank. Real Sociedad replaced their manager, as they probably should have, though I don't know. He was nowhere near expectations, but was probably never going to meet those. Total in this one is 3.5. It's used heavily to under. Wrestlers that don't want to play a high scoring game, but that's what Barcelona forces you into. I think for me, all I really want to look at is that total, excuse me, is the side getting a full goal of insurance. It does interest me a little bit, but probably not enough. We'll move now to Monday. Then we'll get an ultimate best bet and get you out of Spain. Currently, Sevilla, quarter goal underdogs on the road at Elche. Total in this one is 2 and 1/4, and it's juiced slightly more, 2 cents more to the over. So pretty interested in the under here, 2 and 1/4 goals, as I am across all of Spain. You might have heard that already. It's a big jump to see Elche. Don't think a lot of people would have had them favored at home to Sevilla entering into the season. But Edes Sarabia has been awesome. Sevilla are still stuck in kind of the past couple seasons where they've been really struggling. So for me, I don't think I want to play against Elche. I would like them as a pick 'em, but I don't think we'll get that. So under 2 and 1/4, probably my biggest interest in that Monday matchup. For my best bet from Spain, nominee for an ultimate best bet coming end of show, I'm going to put out there Real Oviedo under two. I just don't think we see goals in that any Real Oviedo game ever again. It really feels like until they prove they can do it, I'm not believing it. We'll now move to Italia for Serie A, and that is not Spain. That is Serie A. Great. We'll start with Udinese hosting Inter Milan, which is a really tough matchup for Udinese. They had a big upset win against Napoli, but this is going to be tough for them. They're 1 and 1/4 goal underdogs with a lot of juice right now on the home underdog. Total is 2 and 3/4 in this one, and it's juiced slightly more to under. I think biggest interest for me in this one is probably the under there because I'm a big believer in the Inter defense and how they control matches. I do have some concerns. They score a bunch, and that puts us in big problems. But the side is also bigger than I made it, so I'm interested there too. I think I want a 3 on the total to play it, but could be convinced under and underdog. Moving next to Napoli hosting Sassuolo. Currently, Napoli a 1 goal favorite at home. All the juice. Probably climbing towards 1 and 1/4 or 1 and 1/4 elsewhere. Total in this one's 2.5, and it's juiced very heavily to under. Napoli seems like they're coming out of their rut a little bit, but Sassuolo have been really competitive. I think they play a competitive game here. The side's exactly what I made it. I'm waiting to see if we get 1 and 1/4, but I do like the push on one. That's pretty important to me. And I guess I lean to under 2.5, but it's a little bit lower of a total than I made it. I'm not sure I love that. To the nightcap on Saturday, Cagliari hosting Juventus. Currently, Cagliari a 1 goal underdog with more juice on the road team. Do love Cagliari at home, I gotta say. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's juiced very heavily to under right now, which I haven't really been feeling. Market's been liking a lot of Juve side and specifically overs recently. Total's been bigger than I expected. They had that big win against Bologna a couple weekends ago, maybe a month ago now. Um, I'm interested in Cagliari playing the lowest scoring game they possibly can. Under 2.5 is interesting, and I like the +1. I think I like the under even more. Moving to Sunday morning, we have Parma hosting Genoa. Currently, Parma a pick'em right now with more of the juice, which is a little bit surprising. I did have some pick'em though. Total is 2 minus 108 is the juice on the under, 4 cents higher on the total over. So, do you expect goals? I do not. We've seen an increase in offense ever since. Um, Daniele De Rossi came in, but it literally could not have gotten worse than Patrick Vieira as an offensive manager. So I'm interested in Parma as a home pick 'em right now. Slight favorite as we speak. We'll see where this number moves, but if there's some interest for me on the side, it'd probably be the home team, of course. Genoa if they move to a quarter goal underdog, but I doubt that's going to happen. And so total under 2 at 5:30 local time, Central Time here in Dallas, Texas. That might be my interest on Sunday morning. Bologna then hosts Fiorentina. Currently, Bologna a quarter goal favorite right now, a little bit more juice, which is tiny versus what I made it. Bologna has been on my card a lot lately, and I think they've been running out of gas a little bit. Fiorentina, the total is 2.5, and it's used pretty heavily to under. I mean, I just don't know who's backing Fiorentina at this price. The cheap underdogs in Serie A are always something to look at, though, so I will put that on my list of potential. And we'll move on to Torino hosting Roma. Currently, Torino, a quarter goal underdog at home. All the juice on Roma away. Another really small price, I gotta say. Even with Europe coming up, I'm a little bit surprised by that. Total in this one is 2 and 1/4, which is also really small, but it reflects the lack of goals we've seen from Gasparini so far this season, ever since he came over from Atalanta. But the Roma defense has been great, and so that's been kind of quiet. People haven't been complaining. AC Milan then hosts Lecce as 1.5 goal favorites. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's juiced more to the over, but not significantly to me. Lecce are going to go in and try to keep this as low scoring as possible. Really tough week coming off Inter midweek and Milan again. Oh my God, brutal. Lean to under, but it's a lot lower than I made it. I want to see some lineups that make me feel strongly about it, and I don't know that we will. Moving to Monday, we have two matches. Cremonese hosting Verona. Currently, Verona, a quarter goal underdog on the road in the early kickoff of the two on Monday. Total in this one is 2 and 1/4, juiced very heavily to under. I'm still interested in a total at 2, even if it falls there. So I'll be waiting to see that happen. Would love to get 2 and 1/4, but I'm probably not going to put my money out there just yet. I want to see lineups and such. To the nightcap on Monday, Lazio hosting Como. Currently, Lazio a pick'em with all the juice. Como coming off a big match midweek, a makeup match with AC Milan. So we'll see how that ends up going and what the lineups look like there because they're not used to playing multiple matches in a week, but we'll see. I think Como are interesting to me. Lazio have not been great this season. They didn't have the ability to transfer because they had financial problems. So I'm curious to see how this one goes, but I'll be waiting to see Como move to an underdog until that happens. I am not interested just yet. So it's time for the ultimate best bet portion, or the nominee from Serie A in Italy, and I'm going to go with that under 2.5 Juventus on the road at Cagliari. Now we'll move to Ligue 1 in France, and then we'll do the German Bundesliga, and then we'll get the heck out of here. From France, let's start with Racing Club de Lens, surprise leader in Ligue 1 at some point this season. They are Did I do this already? Oh, sorry. Okay, here we go. They are a 1.25 goal favorite at home to Angers. Angers to me are a pretty competitive but smaller name in France, which is generally where I like to play. Total in this one is 2.75, and it's juiced more to the over. So I don't know that I see a ton of goals in Lens matches, but they've been really good. They're so good at home too, and that's a big, big concern. Probably enough for me to want to stay off getting too invested here. Nice then visit Toulouse, and Nice trying to reclaim whatever they once had because it's been a long, long season so far. They are half a goal underdog on the road at Toulouse. Total is 2.5, and it's juiced more to the over here. I don't know. There's much for me to want to do in the Club Olympic Gymnastique Club de Nice. I don't know that there's a lot for me to do on them because they have really broken my heart so far this season. I thought they're going to be good. Love their manager coming in, former Lens manager, but Lens is winning and Nice is not. Are not. Last but not least, on Saturday, we have Angers, 1 goal underdogs at home to Marseille. Marseille coming off of their Super Coupe de France, whatever in Qatar. Total in this one is 2.5, and it's juiced a little bit more to over. It's bigger than I made it, but that's a lot because of Angers. Um, that's a lot because of Marseille and their ability to score. I love Angers. I feel like they've been a godsend coming back to Ligue 1. They've been a great bet for me, and they play really low scoring games. That's exactly what I need. We'll move to Strasbourg and Metz on Sunday morning. Strasbourg under a new manager. They are 1 goal favorites at home with almost all the juice. Total in this one is 3, and it's juiced pretty heavily to under. So this is a big rivalry matchup in Eastern France. I don't love that for the road team when they're a big underdog, but I do think we see a really great effort. We should anyway from Metz. But I'm curious to see what new Strasbourg looks like. They've had some players playing in the Africa Cup of Nations that have been gone for a little while. So we'll see what that ends up turning into. But Mets, they do score goals. I don't like under, which does make me like the underdog less, but the push on one is available, and it's important to me as well. Moving next to Nantes, hosting FC Paris. And if anyone watches or listens to this podcast, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify under Betting the Pitch, 5-star reviews, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify, comments and questions and things will be read by the podcast host. If you want something college basketball related, Big East Ben from soccer, of course, myself from the NFL, American football, _Schnicker as well. We've got plenty of episodes out there. Thank you for tuning in and dealing with a mid-show plug. But if you listen to this podcast before, you know that I like Nantes. I always bet them, and I've been betting against FC Paris a lot. One of the newly promoted teams in the French Ligue 1, and there's been a lot of money bet on them because there's a lot of money spent on them. But I don't really think they're that great. Cabal is an incredible creator, but that's like all they really have. And Nantes is always hated, and I like the most hated squads that are out there. So quarter goal underdog at home, very interested, and under 2.5. I think I like the side bet in the total, but they all correlate to a low scoring Nantes game. Stade de Rennes then hosts Le Havre. Currently, Rennes a 3/4 goal favorite with all the juice right now at home. Total, so that's probably climbing to 1. Total is 2.75 and is juiced pretty heavily to under right now. So Le Havre are not going to score goals. They're going to try their best to keep a low scoring game. My fear would be that Rennes score a bunch here. So only real interest is the total, and I'm trying to stick away or do less of the road underdogs in games that I'm not playing the side to then play under as well. Last but not least, Olympique Lyonnais hosting Stade Brestois. Currently, Brest a 3/4 goal underdog with all the juice on Lyon. So we might get a full goal of insurance here. Totals 2.75, juice pretty heavily to under right now. Brest have been seeing a lot more goals in their matches this year. I don't know if that's something, it's a response to them playing in Champions League recently and believing they're better than they are. They still, I think, are a team I want to back, usually at home, but as a big underdog on the road at Lyon, I think we've seen Lyon have trouble winning games and doing these things many times in the past. I don't know that the setup's great because I usually want, like I said, to fade a road favorite in Lyon rather than at home. But crowds can turn pretty quickly in that stadium, and we'll see what happens in this matchup. For my best bet in France, let's go to Angers, Marseille, and I will take Angers a 1 goal underdog at home. So I navigate away from everything I was looking for. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. So let's now move to the German Bundesliga, and then we'll get the heck out of here because I got places to be. We'll start on Saturday morning in the big slate of games that all start at 3:30 local time in Germany, I believe, unless the time change is screwing me up. We'll start with Borussia Dortmund hosting FC St. Pauli. This is a battle of offense and no offense, so we'll see how that one goes. St. Pauli are 1.5 goal underdogs, smaller than I made it actually. Total in this one is 2.75, and it is juiced to the over. as it should be. But this is a big matchup for St. Pauli to go on the road and keep this low scoring. I will not be playing the side, which makes my interest in the total less. It's also below what I made it. I think I need a three, which juice is pointing that direction, and I think it is probably worth holding your nose there and seeing St. Pauli try to keep this low scoring goalless as long as possible. But when that dam breaks, unfortunately, they won't be able to stop it, I don't think. Hamburg then host Borussia Mönchengladbach, currently Hamburg quarter goal favorites right now, which is more expensive than I expected, but all the juice is on Mönchengladbach. Probably a lot of pick'ems that are out there across the marketplace. Total in this one is 2 3/4, and it's juiced more to the under. I'm pretty interested in fading Hamburg, though I don't love doing that in that big stadium, and they didn't play midweek due to snow postponement, so that all helps. I think Hamburg quite a bit. For me, under is an interest. I would love to get three, though. Bundesliga has been having a ton of goals all season. Unfortunately, not great for under players like me. Next on my list, though, I guess I got to give an interest. Is probably in Leverkusen, excuse me, in Mönchengladbach as a side. We'll move to Leverkusen next. And that next matchup is TSG Hoffenheim, a quarter goal favorite to Leverkusen. I was hoping to get them at a pick 'em. We might have that there on the home team, but currently quarter goal favorites right now with all the juice on Leverkusen. Total in this one 3 1/4, and it's juiced more to the under. I'm interested in TSG Hoffenheim if we can get there, but at pick 'em. But I don't know that we will. I don't know. I want to pay a ton of juice for it. I love how they've played so far this season. They do, and they will certainly believe that they need to play in a way to mess up Leverkusen. Would love Hoffenheim as a quarter goal underdog, but they don't have a lot from a home crowd either, though, so that's a concern too. I think the side, though, is the only thing I want, though, in that matchup. We'll move next to VfL Wolfsburg, hosting FC Heidenheim. Currently, Heidenheim, one goal, full goal underdogs on the road to Wolfsburg, who are not a good team, but I think that speaks to the Heidenheim problems, and I've been too invested in them recently, unfortunately, buying in that they potentially could salvage themselves or their season. The plus one and the three, under three, are very interesting, though, to me. I think we've gone haywire on, or we are about the lowest valuation possible of FC Heidenheim at this point. They're not good, but they give effort, and Wolfsburg have had multiple managers this season. They underachieve every season, so I'm not really much of a believer in that. To the last matchup of the big early window, we'll go FC Köln, a quarter goal underdog on the road. Excuse me, FC Köln, a quarter goal favorite at home to Mainz 05. Total in this one is 2 3/4, and it is juiced to the under. So this is a perfect setup for me to play my former love affair. If you thought I liked Anni Iraola, good luck with separating me from Urs Fischer. New Mainz 05 manager came in, I think, and navigated a draw with Bayern München out of nowhere from bottom drawing top, which was incredible in the German Bundesliga right before Christmas. But Urs Fischer is awesome. I love what he does. He wins matches. He keeps them as tight as possible, and I think that's really important. So for me, I am very interested in the Mainz underdog as a quarter goal underdog. I'm also into the total here. I don't really believe that there's a ton separating these two teams. So the thing with Köln is they've come into the league and they are a newly promoted team. They play a very complicated style. The Bundesliga like pre-games are never correct on what the formation's going to be. And I think that's almost like at this point, like a game that is being played. But I think there's plenty of talent in Cologne, younger talent, but it's pretty much the same guys that got relegated way back when. So that doesn't change too much to me. I think there's like some belief that Cologne are potentially sliding towards relegation, fear threatens and things like that. And I'm not surprised by that. But it's like one of those things where they're expected to be this, to me, great team. I don't know that I see it, I got to say. But I feel like as a home favorite, quarter goal favorite, they probably should be that way. The crowd is huge at Cologne, but it's really not that intimidating. So I wouldn't be so worried about that. I think for me, definitely interested in under and a little bit interested in underdog too, because I think that was going to be an important part of this matchup, seeing a low scoring game that was Fisher style, and it's not being priced like it currently. So that very much interests me, I must say. Now let's go to, we are going now to the Topspiel, the biggest matchup in Germany. It's always played Saturday nights. And that is RB Leipzig, a 1 goal underdog at home to Bayern Munchen. Almost all the juice on Bayern right now, so you might even see this climb. Total in this one is 3 and 3/4, and it is juiced very heavily to under. I mean, is Bayern broken? Just kidding. The most dominant start to any Premier or any, I think, European top soccer league ever. But things have, I mean, you can't keep that streak going forever. You can't win every match you play, of course, but it's been an incredible run for them this season. But going to Leipzig is tough. I mean, they are potentially getting Diamande back from the AFCON, which is important. I think there's a lot of talent in this Leipzig side. They basically rebuilt from scratch, and I didn't really know what to expect of them, but I've liked what I've seen so far. I think +1 is very interesting. The total is 3 and 3/4, used very heavily to under, which does say a little bit to me, just because I'm not really so much of a believer in any sort of interest in unders with Bayern Munich games because they can just score so many goals themselves that I think it's probably side only for me on this matchup, and that's probably all I need to do. We'll move now to Sunday. We'll start in the early matchup with VfB Stuttgart hosting Union Berlin, no longer managed by Urs Fischer, though I'm still kind of disappointed that they let him go way back when, and I think that's definitely impacted my ability to profit on this sport because he's a gold mine, and I really miss that guy. But he's back at Mainz, and he's going to save them. I think keep them up this season. I probably should look for some props on that actually now that I'm talking about it. Um, but anyway, for this matchup, we have Stuttgart 3/4 goal favorites right now at home with all the juice. Total is, let's see, it is 2.5, and it's juiced very heavily to over. So. Union, Stefan Baumgart, he's more of an offensive manager, but he's kind of embraced the style that was Union Berlin to play really good defense. Looked like he might have even gotten sacked way back when. But I think Stuttgart are going to struggle to break down Union. I want a full goal of insurance on Union. Don't think we'll get that, but I'll wait for it. We could get it. It's pointing that direction in the juice right now. Total this was 2.5. I want more, but I like under at the moment. And last but not least, Augsburg hosting Freiburg. Currently, Augsburg a slight pick'em underdog. All the juice on Freiburg though right now. Maybe climbing to quarter goal favorite. Total is 2.5 in this one. Juiced very heavily to under, and I'll be waiting to see this one climb to the quarter goal home underdog, and then potentially play under. Though I don't really feel great fading Freiburg at this point with an Augsburg side that have looked completely lost this season. But at this point, we'll see what happens and we'll see where movement goes on Sunday. For my best bet in the opener, or excuse me, in the German Bundesliga portion of this show, and we'll then eventually combine it all and get it into an ultimate best bet portion very, very soon. I'm going to go with mine's under 2 and 3/4 goals. Give me Urs Fischer all the time. Love that guy, and I'm going to keep betting those until these things adjust. It's a little awkward to do that with Cologne because they don't want to play low-scoring games whatsoever. But got to make some calls sometimes, and that's how you do it on the Betting Pitch Podcast Network. So before we get to ultimate best bets, I'm going to show a bunch of comments from Joe Dollar. Sorry, I did not come in here yet. Man City and both teams to score over 2.5. He likes Leeds over 1.5 team total, which is aggressive for a home team. Liverpool under 3.5 goals. I guess you're back in the belief. Sunderland under 2.25 goals makes sense. Chelsea corners, so it tells me that you're going to be dominating possession, which I wouldn't be shocked about. Tottenham and both teams to score over 2.5. I don't know what you're talking about there. Have you watched the Tottenham game this year, Joe? Arsenal to nil. That makes sense. Usually happens. Newcastle with both teams to score. Man, we got a lot. Aston Villa over 1.5. That's a lot back in a home team. I think I'll take Everton there against you. Brighton and both teams to score makes sense, but I just don't really see it with Brighton, I got to say. Real Madrid, both teams to score. Mallorca draw. That will pay out a little bit well. Betis at home. I like that. Getafe 0-0 draw. Get your odds on that one. If you like race cars not finishing and the F1 podcast, formerly on the Pitch Podcast Network, you can see that as well. Atletico Madrid 2-0. Celta, both teams to score. Barca, both teams to score. Makes sense every Barca match. Sevilla, draw. Inter under 3.5 goals. Makes sense. A little bit more there. Napoli to nil. Maybe so. I think they're going to play some low-scoring games for sure the rest of the season. Juventus and under. I think that makes sense. I don't think Juve is scoring much, but I do like Cagliari in that one. Genoa, both teams to score. That's a risky one, but possible. Bologna, both teams to score. Makes more sense with more offense. Roma, money line. I'm a Gasparini believer for sure. Milan, 1.5 goal favorites. That's a big one. I'm not sure I'm there. Verona, come on to my side of the world, Joe. Get some underdogs with you. Como as well. Then we like Lens and over. That makes sense. Nice to draw. Backing them. Surprising. Marseille and over. That's what they do. Metz money line. Ooh, big upset as Strasbourg are trying to figure out what to do with their management position. Nantes and both teams to score is not how I feel, but I like Nantes. Stade de Reims. Um, they are not in the French Ligue 1. You mean Rennes, I assume. Reims are the Champagne region, and they got relegated, I think, despite making it to the the Coupe de France final. Brest and both teams to score. Dortmund and over makes sense, but that's not what Paulie's going to let happen, I don't think. Gladbach and over. Don't know, I have a great feel on that one. Leverkusen, Wolfsburg, and Cologne. He wants a draw. And now it's time for the ultimate best bet portion of the show. I do want to shout out the new YouTube subscribers, though. There's so many of you. I really appreciate it. It's always great. And I think I love it. Love you all. You guys are the best. Um, I know I'm live right now. I know that. But want to shout out Christopher Douglas, Allison McIntyre, Young Realist, Paul Mallon, Fallet Mac, The Dirty Sheets, Alex Alejandro, Vim Vitens coming in. I appreciate that. I wish I had those numbers or names for Spotify as well, but you can hit that on there, Betting the Pitch, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify, at the Real_G Warner on YouTube, and make sure you hit the follow button on our Instagram as well, because there are going to be a lot of reels coming out. College football, NFL, and of course, soccer coming out this weekend. I'm going to be doing a lot of Instagramming on my phone, unfortunately. In terms of best bets, ultimate best bet portion of the show, we are 15-11 and 258% so far in what I've caught up on. From the English Premier League, like West Ham under 2 3/4 goals. In La Liga in Spain, I like Oviedo under 2. And in Serie A in Italy, like Cagliari under 2.5 goals against Juventus. In Ligue 1, I like Angers, a 1 goal underdog. And the German Bundesliga, I like Mainz 05 under 2 3/4 goals. But for the ultimate best bet in this episode, I'm still playing Tottenham unders. So let's go West Ham, Tottenham under 2 3/4 goals. Then up to best bet on this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll take Joe's comment down now. Hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Hit the subscribe button, patreon.com/real_G Warner. Best spot for all my plays, leans, write-ups across all sports. We'll talk to you soon.